Hi, welcome to my video on graphing a complex number or numbers. A complex number is written in the form of a plus bi, where a is the real part and bi is the imaginary part. So if we have an axis, the real axis is horizontal, we mark it with an R. It's the horizontal axis. And the imaginary axis is the vertical. And we can put an I up here. So it's like an X and a Y, where X would be here and Y will be here, but this is real, so real is first, imaginary is second, so like an X and a Y. Treat it as an X and a Y. X is first, Y is second. So real and imaginary are the axes. And again, they're marked off, but this is 1, 2, 3, and this is, I read it down, 1i or I. This is 2i, and this is 3i, etc. This is, again, I'll mark these two. This is -1, -2, -3. This is a -i, -2i, and a -3i. Notice that this axis, the vertical axis, is imaginary, has to have the i's. This is the real, and this is origin 0, 0, real axis, imaginary axis. Let's graph each complex number. So in relation to 1 plus 2i, 1 is the real part, so 1 is right here on the real axis, and 2i is on the imaginary, so this dot right here is A, that's A. 1 on the real, 2i on the imaginary. B, -2 on the real, 3i on the imaginary. So -2 on the real and 3i on the imaginary, right there is the B. C is 3 on the real, -2 on the imaginary. 3 on the real, start with 0, 0, 3 on the real, -2 on the imaginary. So there's C. D is -3 minus I, -3 on the real, and a -i on the imaginary. So start at 0, 0, -3 on the real, -i on the imaginary, which is right there. And we got D. E is 2, and 2 is the same as 2 plus 0i. So 2 on the real is right there. So there's 2 on the real axis, 0 on the I-axis. So that's E right there. And F is -1, so that's a -1 plus 0i. Again, there's no imaginary parts, so the real -1 is right there, and you don't move up or down, so there it is. That's F. Again, very similar to X and Y. And -2 imaginary, so that's 0 plus 2i. So 0 on the real is right here, and the 2i on the imaginary is right there. So that's G. H is -3i, so it's 0 minus 3i. So 0 on the real, which is here, -3 on the imaginary, right there. So that's H. So let's graphs. If you wish, pause the video, find some graph paper, and I'll label the axes. This is the real axis. This is the imaginary axis. And again, this is 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this one is -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, because this is the real axis along here. Imaginary axis, this is 1i, 2i, 3i, 4i, 5i. And as we go down, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -5i. Again, imaginary's got the i's, reals don't have them. So, again, if you have your graph set up, plot each of these, and when you've got them all plotted, Press play to see if you're right. P, 2 plus 4i. So 2 is on the real, and 4i, 1, 2, 3, 4, right there is P. Q is -6. -6 on the real is start here, -6 on the real is right there. And there's no imaginaries. So that's Q right there. -3 minus 3i, so -3 on the real. So we start here, -3 on the real is right there. And a -3 on the imaginary is right there. So that point there is R. S is 0 plus 5i, so 0 on the reals, which is here. 5i is right there. So that's 0 plus 5i, and that's S. T is 4 subtract 2i. 4 on the reals, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a -2 right there. So that's T. Again, 4 and -2. And U is 4, so that's 4 plus 0i. So 4 on the reals, and you do not move up or down. So 4 on the reals is 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right there. And that's U, that dot. V is -1 plus 2i. -1 plus 2i. -1 on the reals, which is start 0, 0, -1 on the reals, and 2i you move up right there. So that's V. And W is a -i, so that's understood to be 0 minus 0 subtract I. So 0 on the reals is right there, and the -1 I is right there, so that's W. Again, notice that this point intersection, that's 0, 0. Okay. Hopefully. So same as graphing X and Y, only we have, again, we have the axis, horizontal axis is the real, the vertical axis is the imaginary. So now I have them all labeled. I have, as you can see, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on the reals, and this is negative. And imaginaries, those 1i or I, 2i, 3i, 4i, 5i, 6i. When you go down, it's negative I, -2i, -3i, -4i, -5i, etc. So what we do here is name each point as A plus BI. So let's start with A. A is here. So what is A? So if we go down here, A is -2 on the reals. And A is 6i. So -2 plus 6i. So all you have to do is look, that's the X, and think of it as the Y. And B is right here. B is on the real axis as 3, but it's not on imaginary. Imaginary is 0. So B is 3. Or you could say 3 plus 0i, because you're not moving up or down. C is down here. So the real is 1, 2, 3, 4. So you look at a point, you go up and say that's a 4. And if you go this way, -5i. So it's 4 minus 5i. And D is right here. D is, on the reals, it's -1. On the imaginary, it's -4i. So it's a -1 minus 4i. E is right here. E is on the real axis. Real axis horizontal, real. So that's 1, 2, 3 negative. And the imaginary is 0. So it's a plus 0i, or could be plus or minus. It makes no difference if you do that or you do that, because it's the same as a -3. So if you wrote down just -3, you're okay. because people know that there's no imaginaries, no eyes on it. F, but ask your teacher that, do you have to put -3 plus 0i, or -3 minus 0i, just a -3? So if they ask you for this form, then you put the 0i in, and then you won't be wrong. F is right here, and F is, the real is 2, and the imaginary is 3i. So it's 2 plus 3i. Check F. F is what we're doing. 2, 3i, right? And G. G is, where do we got? Oh, G is right here. G is 0 on the real, and imaginary is a -i, -1i or -i. So that could become, if you want, just a -i. Again, check with your teacher. -i understood to be real is understood to be 0. But do you have to state this or just this? Or, and H is right here. The real is 0. Imaginary is 2i. So G and H, 0 plus 2i, or just 2i. And that's graphing complex numbers. The complex numbers graph is the reals are horizontal and the imaginary numbers are the vertical. If you like my video, click the like button, click the subscribe button, click the notification bell, and more videos are coming. Visit my website, www.mathfullyexplained.com, to find more information about me, my videos, and the content. And that's the content that's on my YouTube channel called Math Fully Explained. Thank you for viewing my video. Bye-bye.